Do you know what adjectives are? I'll tell you. So we use adjectives to describe nouns and pronouns, all right? So we use adjectives to throw more detail on regular nouns and pronouns. So for example, let's say we have a bunch of boys playing football on a pitch, all right? And then I walk up to you and ask you to call me the boy. Right, so we have like 11 boys playing football on a pitch, and then I ask you to call me the boy. You will definitely ask me which boy, right? So to add more detail to this regular noun boy, I can say call me the tall boy, all right, the tall boy. So I am using tall to add more detail to the rather regular noun boy, right? So if I say tall boy, then you are going to call me the tallest amongst them, right? Or I could say, call me the short boy, call me the ugly boy, call me the handsome boy, all right? Call me the beautiful girl, and all that. So those are what we call adjectives. We use them to modify nouns and pronouns, so to add more details to the entities that we are referring to. Now, if you look at the examples that we just gave, you'll find that the adjectives come right before the nouns that they modify, right? So we had tall boy, for example. So tall here is the adjective and boy is the noun that it is describing, right? So you find that the adjective will come right before the noun that it modifies. We have the short boy, beautiful girl, handsome man, all that. You find that the adjectives will come before the nouns that they are modifying. And this is one of the issues that causes the most confusion for learners of Twi, especially those whose first language is English. So you are used to this. You are used to the adjectives coming before the nouns that they modify in English. But in Twi, this is the direct opposite. Okay, so in Twi, true adjectives, and I'll come to why I'm using true adjectives here shortly, but in Twi, true adjectives come right after the nouns that they modify, unlike what you have in English. So whereas in English, you have an example like tall boy, if you want to say this in Twi, you'll have something that translates back into English directly as boy tall. Okay, so it's flipped. And it's the case with all true adjectives in Twi. And again, I'll come to why I'm using true adjectives here. But, what you know in English, where you have your adjectives coming right before the nouns that they modify, if you come to Twi, flip that so that the adjectives go right after the nouns that they modify. All right? Now, before we get into why I used true adjectives, let's look at some examples. So, tall boy becomes abarimaa tenten in Twi. Abarimaa tenten. Abarimaa tenten. So we have abarimaa as the boy, and then we have tenten, which is tall, right? If you want to make this definite, we can introduce the definite article no, and then we have abarimaa tenten no. Abarimaa tenten no. Let's see another example. So we have dia kesie. Dia kesie. So we have dia as a tree, and then we have kesie, which is the adjective big. Okay, so we have dia kesie. Again, we can introduce the definite article no, and then we have dia kesie no. Dia kesie no. Okay. Dia kesie no. Let's see another example. We have oyonko bone. Oyonko bone. Oyonko bone. Okay? And then we can have suban pa. Suban pa. So the noun here is suban, which is character, okay, behavior. And then we have pa, which is good, the adjective, right? So we have suban pa. Suban pa. Now, let's come to why I used true adjectives earlier. So I use true adjectives because this order that I just told you about, so this order where you have the adjectives coming after the nouns that they modify, unlike what you have in English where the adjectives come before the nouns that they modify, does not apply when you are using nouns to perform the function of an adjective. Okay, so it's not always that we use adjectives to, modify nouns. Sometimes we also use nouns to perform the function that adjectives perform. So for example, if you say race car, right? So we have race car. Race on its own is a noun. It's not an adjective, right? But you're using it to perform the function of an adjective by using it to throw more detail on the car, right? Else it will be a regular vehicle, but we are using the race to tell you what kind of vehicle we are talking about. Okay? Another example, if you say studio rat, for example. Okay, so we have studio rat. Rat is the noun here, but what kind of rat are we talking about is the studio rat, right? Even the composition of the word toothbrush, okay, toothbrush follows this. So there is brush, but what kind of brush? It's a brush that we use for the tooth, right? So we have toothbrush. These two parts of this word are both nouns, right? But we are using the noun tooth to perform the function of an adjective in order to tell you exactly what kind of brush that we are referring to. So I'm saying that the order of the Twi adjectives in relation to the nouns that they modify that I just told you about does not apply if you're going to be using nouns to perform the function of adjectives. Okay, so whereas for true Twi adjectives, they come after the nouns that they modify, which is directly the opposite of what you have in English. If you're going to be using a noun to perform the function of an adjective, then the order stays the same as you have in English. The noun that is performing the function of the adjective will come before the noun that it is going to modify. Let me give you an example. So if I say obra, akwantuo, obra, akwantuo, obra on its own is a noun, life, okay? It's a noun. But here we are using it to perform the function of an adjective, to tell us what kind of journey, which is the akwantuo, that we are referring to. So because obra is not a true adjective, look at the order of it in relation to the noun that it's modifying. Okay, so I told you that if it's a true adjective, it will come after, the noun that it modifies. But if you are using a noun to perform the function of an adjective, then it stays the same as what you have in English, as you can see with this example. Another example, we have nkuruma nkwan. Nkuruma nkwan. Nkuruma nkwan. So you see, nkuruma is okro. Some of you call it okra. So we have nkuruma as okro, and then we have nkwan, which is soup. So as you can see, both are nouns, right? So each of them is a noun on its own, but here we are using nkuruma to perform the function of an adjective to tell you exactly what kind of soup we are referring to. So look at the order, right? Because nkuruma is not a true adjective, we place it before the noun that it modifies, all right? Let's see another example. We have apotro, car, apotro, car, apotro, car. So we have apotro, which is another name for apotrene, which is the frog, okay? And then we have car, which is, borrowed, right? So we are using apotro to tell you the kind of vehicle that we are talking about, right? This is what you have in English as the beetle, I think. So apotro here on its own is a noun. As you can see, this is a frog, but here we are using it to perform the function of an adjective in order to tell you exactly what kind of car we are referring to, all right? Now, this reminds me, when I was young, my dad got knocked down by one of these cars, and then we went to the hospital to visit him. And as soon as my mom saw him, she started crying. And then my dad was like, don't worry, this is not how I'm going to die. I can't be killed by a common frog. And then we all burst out laughing. So we have here apotro, car, right? So we are using apotro here. Even though it's a noun, we are using it to perform the function of an adjective. And for that matter, it comes before the noun that it's supposed to modify. Unlike the true Twi adjectives, which come after the nouns that they modify. All right? Let's end today's lesson here. Thank you guys once again for watching. I hope to see you next time. It's bye for now.